the second edition of the Tour of Oman, and Fabian Cancellara returns as the defending champion. Hello, this is Matthew Keenan with you, and welcome to the Tour of Oman. It may not be a part of the world traditionally associated with world-class cycling, but it is a part of the world that cycling's best are fallen in love with, and the country likewise with cycling. Ideal preparation for some of the world's biggest names before they get back to the European roads and some of the biggest races. The world champion, Thor Hushovd, Mark Cavendish with his HTC High Road squad, and Tom Boonen from the Quick Step team, looking to find the form of 1 year ago when he won a stage in the Tour of Oman. For the team managers, an important briefing with Eddie Merckx, the patron of the race, before it gets underway. 835 kilometres worth of racing. The first stage to Al Seb, an opportunity for the sprinters. The second day, which takes them to Al Wataya, it could prove a little bit more challenging with a major climb. Around Sur on stage 3, the longest stage, 208 kilometres, but a stage 4 to the top of the Green Mountain that everybody is anxiously awaiting. It's an individual time trial on stage 5. Before the final day of racing, another chance for the sprinters. Stage 1 sees the peloton start the race in Al Sawadi before they make their way through to Al Seb. It's a flat day with 2 intermediate sprints along the road, and there's 127 riders on the start line. The 2 intermediate sprints, they've got time bonuses for those points, and then there's the time bonuses at the end of the stage. 158 kilometres. Traditional music greets the peloton for the second edition of the Oman before the racing gets underway, and it's a scene that from the first edition of the race was very familiar as lots of the locals came out onto the side of the road to support the event. Perfect weather conditions for racing, 26 degrees the expected maximum temperature for the opening day of racing, which is right on with the average temperature at this time of year in Oman. Neutral start for the first few kilometres before the flag comes in, and then it's on in earnest. Eddie Merckx in the front seat, along with the race director Christian Prudhomme. School children taking the opportunity to miss a little bit of class time and get out on the side of the road and watch the likes of Fabian Cancellara, the defending champion, see what sort of form he's got at the beginning of the season. Good return to form for Tanel Tanguert, the rider in the Astana colours, the Estonian national time trial champion. He spent a couple of seasons with AG2R. He dropped down to the amateur ranks in 2010, but he won his national time trial title, and he makes his return to the top end of the sport. McNally from AN Post in the green colours. It's Peter Seri for Top Sport Vlaanderen. It's the Astana team that are doing the chasing. That 8-second gap to the group of 3. It still has one of their teammates in the move, Tanguert, as they're about to surrender. They're about to be caught. But this is a show of strength from the Astana team. Vinokurov, he is here and he wants to put some cards on the table. He wants to show the rest of the world, despite the fact Contador is no longer with the team, they still are one of the strongest teams in the world. That's Vinokurov at the end of that group of the Astana riders. Lining up behind them, it's the Rabobank team. Thinking about their big sprinter, Theo Bos. He's still making that transition from the track to the road, but the form is improving. This is Simon Clark now at the head of affairs from Astana. Vinokurov has given him the all clear. It is Clark that moves off the front. It's Giovanni Visconti that responds, the Italian champion. Last year, these two were teammates. This year, they're on opposite teams, but they're joining forces at the front of the Tour of Oman. Clark is showing an impressive start to the season. Look across the shoulder. But that main peloton, they're closing down. The sprinters teams, they're not giving the breakaway any latitude in the closing kilometres. Clark moves over to the side of the road to get out of the way. Meanwhile, Visconti, he slots straight back into the front end of the peloton. Thinking about their sprinter, thinking about Gordini. Around the last corner, it's Fabian Cancellara that leads them through, and you can see the gap that he opened up. He had to wait, looking for Daniela Benatti. It's now Sky that's at the head of affairs. It's Benatti that sits in second position. He's a little bit too close to the front, but the Sky team are looking for Bosenhagen. Skills Shimano in the right colours coming through. The third man in line for Skills Shimano, Roger Klug, the German sprinter on that squad. Rabobank, they did a lot of work throughout the stage, but Theo Boss now is having to go a long way from home. Boss is starting to come around the outside. He's on the left-hand side of the road. He continues to improve his position. It's Klug that opens up the sprint now for Skills Shimano, and Cavendish is trying to squeeze through, but it's Boss and Cavendish coming to the line, and it's Boss that gets the nod, but only just. Cavendish in second position. It's then Roger Klug in third. Mark Cavendish, 15 stage wins at the Tour de France, congratulates the winner of the stage, Theo Boss. And it was the desperate throw to the line that was all the difference for Boss. That track experience proving to be vital. And there's the photo, the difference between Cavendish and Boss. Timing on that throw to the line, all important. Theo Boss with the stage victory. He takes the 10-second time bonus. He also takes the red jersey as the leader of the general classification. It's Cavendish in second position. Peter Seri is into third after having been in the breakaway and getting time bonuses out on the road. The second stage of the Tour of Oman starts at the Wave Beachside Resort. Once it's completed, there'll be 4,000 properties and a 400-berth marina, along with a golf course designed by Greg Norman. It's the first development of its kind undertaken in Muscat. Stage 2 starts at the Wave and then makes its way through to Al Wutaya. It's a 139.5 kilometre stage, 2 immediate sprints and a difficult climb at the midpoint on the stage. Although there's no King of the Mountains points in this year's Tour of Oman, where the sprint for the first immediate time bonuses are on offer in this stage, it is a very difficult climb. It takes the peloton to almost 400 metres above sea level. The red jersey being worn by Theo Boss from the Rabobank team. He'll have his work cut out for him once they do make their way to that climb. He's continuing to make that transition from being the world's best sprinter on the track to trying to be the world's best sprinter on the road. Pat McQuaid, the president of the UCI, is on the race on this occasion as the sport continues to globalise. Kilometre zero, the flag comes in and the attackers come. Once again, it's AN post Sean Kelly, just as they did yesterday. On this occasion, it's the Irishman. It's Mark Cassidy that has launched the move. The action's coming from Skills Shimano. It's Ronan van Zandbeck that's made the move to try and get into the breakaway of the day. They've got their sprinter to think about, Roger Klug, who was third on the previous stage. If they get in the break today, they don't have to do as much work to try and control the peloton as they did on the previous stage. This is Daniel Ratto from the Geox team, along with Stein Nering from Top Sport Vlaanderen. The other rider to mark the move has been Krustov of the Ukraine. He rides for the Lamprey team. He's joined that front group of 3. That's now a front group of 5 as they've got themselves together. All the riders in the race today effectively sit at 10 seconds behind Theo Boss, the winner of the stage yesterday. It's just the time bonuses separating anybody in the general classification. For the Rabobank team, they're pretty happy with the composition of the leading group of 5. They've allowed the gap to start to open out. It's already out to 1 minute and 4 seconds. Leading group of 5 now making their way to the bottom of the climb. There's nowhere to hide on this sort of climb. No vegetation to protect them from the wind and no opportunity to get around the corner and out of sight of that main peloton, who are starting to close it down. At one point, the leading group of 5 built themselves up a lead of more than 4 minutes. But now the reaction is starting to come. It's getting down to the crucial point of the race as they're now on the climb. You can see this isn't classified as a King of the Mountain sprint. There are none on the Tour of Oman. But as Ratto goes off the front, along with Mark Cassidy, you can see how difficult it is to get to this sprint point. It's not a King of the Mountains point. It's an intermediate sprint point with time bonuses up for grabs. As the main peloton are just getting to the more difficult part of the climb, it's Ratto and Cassidy at the top of the climb that are doing battle for the sprint points. And it's the Italian, Daniele Ratto, that gets the 3-second time bonus. He's just 21 years of age. He's in his first season as a professional, and he's off to a good start. He's ridden the Tour of Qatar recently, and he comes to Oman with some good form. I think he's enjoyed the opportunity to do a little bit of climbing after a lot of racing across some flat, windy and fast roads. So Ratto goes across the line. He gets the points, but there's a few problems further down the road. 1 minute and 47 seconds behind. That's the time gap to the red jersey of Theo Bos. But Bos, the leader of the race, the winner of stage one, is under pressure. He's at the back end of that main peloton. The Rabobank team, they've got a few options to play in this year's Tour of Oman. Robert Giesink is the rider they'll be thinking about for the general classification. He sits in the centre of the picture in those orange colours of Rabobank. He looks so comfortable on the climb. For BMC Racing, it's Michael Scarr that's at the head of affairs. Stuart O'Grady just behind him in the leopard Trek colours. And good to see Matthew Goss in that group at the front end paying attention. 12 seconds is the gap, the chasing group that's trying to close down on the leading riders of 5, as this is Theo Bos, who's now at more than 30 seconds behind. And he's got some sprinters around him. On the far side, it's his teammate Graham Brown. And on the near side, it's Francesco Chicchi, the Italian sprinter from Quick-Step. The front group of 5 are only just surviving at the head of affairs, as there's a strong contingent of about 15 riders that are split off the main peloton that are causing some problems. They're causing problems for the breakaway and problems for Theo Bos. It looks as though the big Dutch sprinter is starting to lose a grasp on that red jersey. Well, this is a class group that has been dropped off the back. The green jersey with Mark Cavendish. He's got his teammate Lars back just in front of him, and it's Chris Sutton in the black colours just behind him. Cavendish is wearing the green jersey for the points classification, but he's out of the peloton. He's got some work to do. He's trying to close down. Actually sits in second position in that competition. It's Theo Bos that leads that competition as well, but he's got the red jersey on. But he's further back down the road. And look at the quality of this group. It is Tom Bonan that's in this group. He's got the blue colours on of Quick-Step. Kenzie Arto is just in front of him in the red colours of BMC Racing, and gives you an indication at just how tough this race is, because Thor Hushoff, the world champion, was also in that group. What is left of the breakaway group of 5 is now 3. It's Mark Cassidy that looks across his shoulder. Ratto is still with him, so too Christoph, but they're about to be caught by what is left at the front end of the main peloton. The red jersey of Theo Bos, he's at 3 minutes and 2 seconds behind, 41 kilometres to race. He had his teammates doing a lot of chasing for a long time after they got over the top of that climb. It looks as though he's now resigned himself to the fact that he won't be able to get back in contention, and he will have to surrender that red jersey. Well, this is a coming together of 2 big groups at the front of the race. The rider that's at the back of the group, that's Marco Kump, another man that's in his first season as a professional with the Geox team. These 2 groups are starting to merge, and once they get together, that will bring us a strong group of 72 riders in contention for the stage victory. Saw Mark Cassidy in that group, still surviving. He manages to hold on. Theo Bos now is out to 6 minutes and 34 seconds. He has surrendered. It's now Russell Downing at the front of the peloton for Team Sky, doing the job for Edvald Bosenhagen, the man that finished in second place 1 year ago behind Fabian Cancellara. For Edvald Bosenhagen, the chance to win the stage, it could prove important. Those time bonuses, they might be the difference at the end of the race. Just inside the final 5 kilometres, it's Andrei Grivko now from Astana that's launching himself off the front. Patrick Sinkovits from Finesse Vini keeping him for company. Well, it's the same 2 teams as we saw on stage 1 that launched the attack. Different riders, but same teams represented off the front. Well, Grivko's a good man for Sinkovits to go off the front with. The Ukrainian at the front in the Astana colours. He's a 4 times national time trial champion. And for Patrick Sinkovits, this is a good opportunity for him to get at the head of the race. It's Stuart O'Grady, though, that's starting to close it down. There's only 1.6 kilometres to go, a couple of quick right-handers, and then they'll line up for the finish line. O'Grady trying to set up the stage for Daniele Bonatti. That's the kite. They're inside the final kilometre. The sprinters can see the finish line now. It is Bosenhagen that sits in second position. Bernati just behind him. It's an uphill run to the line. There's been a fall further back down in the peloton. Goss is still in the slipstream. He's waiting to make his move. Bernati on the right-hand side of the road, looking to open up his account for the season, but it's Goss that comes through the centre, spoils the day for the Italian, takes the stage victory, and it's Bosenhagen that finishes in third. Matthew Goss timed his run to perfection. He only made his move with 50 metres to go to win the stage, and it was Kenny de Kettel of Top Sport Vlaanderen was the rider that was involved in the crash. With Theo Bos losing contact, conceding more than 10 minutes on the winner of the stage, Matthew Goss, with the stage victory, also takes the red jersey to move to the top of the general classification. It's Bernati in second position at 4 seconds behind. Bosenhagen is in third place, 6 seconds behind. It's not often that you catch a boat to a bike race, but that is the case for stage 3 of the Tour of Oman. One of the unique features of the event is the opportunity for many of the riders to spend a little bit more time together. Normally they go to bike races on their separate team buses, but the Tour of Oman is just a fraction more social. A slightly more relaxing start to the day as the peloton had the opportunity to enjoy the coastline of Oman. Number 1, Fabian Cancellara, the defending champion. It's the longest stage of the race, 208 kilometres around Sur. Another warm day with the forecast top of 30 degrees, and let's not forget that for Oman, this is winter. In summer, it gets up to an average maximum temperature of 40 degrees. It's Matt Goss in the red jersey as the leader of the general classification, with his teammate Mark Cavendish in the white colours of HTC High Road. It's a role reversal for those two men. Normally it's Goss leading Cavendish out, but on this occasion we're seeing Mark Cavendish do the job as one of the domestiques for HTC High Road, getting some money in the goodwill bank, thinking about further on in the season. One of the great tourist attractions of Oman is the camels, and there's no shortage of opportunities to be able to ride camels along the beautiful coastline of Oman. It's also one of the few races where you see numerous signs along the side of the road warning of the prospect of camels walking across the road. You don't see that too often. Marco Kump at the back of the group, wearing number 46 from the Geox team. He survived well across the climb on the previous stage. He's the youngest rider in that breakaway group at just 21 years of age, and he sits at 13 seconds behind in the general classification. Marcus Burkhardt in the breakaway group, the red colours of BMC Racing. He's the most experienced man of this move. This is Burkhardt at the back of the group. He's been a stage winner at the Tour de France. He's collected a few stages at the Tour of Switzerland. He's also been a winner of the Ghent-Wevelgem Classic. He's a man that likes it when it's a flat open road and plenty of wind, and there's no shortage of that. It's Kevin Klees who's still leading the group as the move comes now, and it's Marco Kump that makes the move. The young Slovenian from the Geox team, he's looking to get the time bonuses. He is a man with plenty of pedigree. Sinkovic is trying to respond, but he doesn't have the legs to get on terms with Marco Kump. It's Kump that takes the points, the 3-second time bonus as well. Sinkovic in second position. Marco Kump, he is a big prospect for the future of world cycling. He's a man that 1 year ago, he won the under-23 Tour of Flanders, and it was Michael Matthews who was in second position. And Michael Matthews later in the year went on to win the under-23 World Championship. So Marco Kump has got some good pedigree. He's a big man to watch for the future. This is Kurt Eller Arvidsson at the front end of the peloton for Team Sky, one of the teammates of Edvald Bosenhagen. And that's good news for HTC High Road, as it's not just the teammates of Matt Goss that have got the responsibility to do all the chasing. Leopard Trek also putting one of their riders into the chasing group. Well, the breakaway at one point got themselves a lead of 7 minutes. It's now down to 52 seconds with 25 kilometres to race. The tailwind run towards the finish line, though, it's a complete contrast to the first 3 hours, where they were sitting on speeds of 35 kilometres per hour throughout the first part of the race. They'd now been touching speed for the last few hours of 60 kilometres per hour. Kevin Clays looks across the shoulders, the rider in the green colours of AN Post Sean Kelly. He recognises that they're about to be caught. They've just got 10 kilometres to race. Sinkovitz is also due to surrender. And we see Marcus Burkhardt sitting in second position. It's been a long adventure. They've been off the front for some 198 kilometres, but not quite enough. It's now over to the teams of the sprinters to get themselves organised. The Skills Shimano team, they'll be looking for Roger Klug. He was third on stage 1, as Matthew Goss, who was the winner on stage 2, has got himself in the slipstream of Hayden Ralston. Just a few hundred metres to go as it's starting to wind up. The Rabobank team looking to set up the stage for Theo Boss. Brown gets out of the way as Boss is leading the charge. He's gone a long way from home. Chris Sutton tries to move Bosenhagen up into the fray. It's Goss in the red colours as the leader of the race. It's Bernardi in second position. But Boss, he is going to be the boss and take the stage win. He makes it number 2 as Bernardi is in second place with Matthew Goss an important third position. The time bonus for third for Goss, enough to hold on to the red jersey, but Theo Boss is the winner of the stage. It's got a rhythm to it. Boss stage 1, Goss stage 2, Boss stage 3.
Yesterday with the climb I hoped for more, but I know this is my place on the climb. I have to improve. This is not my specialty. And I'm still not there as a complete cyclist, but I'm happy I can win these kind of flat races.
Matthew Goss, though, manages to hold on to that red jersey, but it's a very slender lead in the general classification. It's just 2 seconds ahead of Daniela Bernardi, with Bosenhagen looming dangerously in third place. The Rabobank team, they celebrate. It's been a very successful start as the former sprint world champion appreciates the effort of his teammates. Sultan Qaboos University hosting the start of stage number 4, and it could prove to be the most decisive stage of the race. An education in climbing awaits for some of the men in this year's Tour of Oman. It's a stage that takes them to the top of the Green Mountain. It's 157.5 kilometres, the last 4 of them all uphill. 11 kilometres, they make their enter to the bottom of the mountain. It's just about to commence the big challenge of this year's Tour of Oman. The Rabobank team looking for Robert Giesing. The Sky team looking for Edvald Bosenhagen. And Fabian Cancellara, he wears number 1 as the defending champion. He too is still in contention. It's a different course to season 2010. There was no mountaintop finish on that occasion. It will be a challenge for Fabian Cancellara, but he has been the winner of the Tour of Swiss, so he can climb. Heyman is still at the front, the big Australian. He's doing the job for the Norwegian Bosenhagen, who finished in second place behind Fabian Cancellara 1 year ago. The men that have done their job, they're starting to lose contact as we make our way a little bit further up the climb. This is Kenziato from DMC Racing, one of the new recruits across to that team. As we saw Martin Finance from Rabobank, he's been doing the job for their climber, Robert Giesing. 5 kilometres still to race. All the big men that we thought would be in contention for the stage is still there, as this is an attack from number 51. Alexander Vinokurov, his first race of the season. He looked in difficulty on the steep part at the bottom end of the climb. It plateaus for a moment before rising sharply again. And Vinokurov, as he normally does, seizes the opportunity. Russell Downing almost came to grief at the stop sign when he almost stopped very abruptly. Good to see the red jersey is still there, Matthew Goss. Vinokurov, he's about to be caught. It's Giesing that's done the job. Vinokurov looks across the shoulder to see what damage has been done. Maybe the damage has been done to the red jersey. As Matt Goss, he only just rejoined contact with that group on one of the moment lapses in the climb, a little flat section to try and get himself back on terms. Now for Goss, the sprinter, he has to try and play the chameleon and turn himself into a climber. It's a difficult task. He moves across to the right-hand side of the road to get on the wheel of Russell Downing. He's trying to keep some company and make sure that he doesn't completely explode. Can see the rocking and rolling in the hips of Matthew Goss by comparison to some of the more natural climbers, as this is Dries Dervenens now from the Quick Step team that's standing on the pedals and rolling away. Fabian Cancellara slowed down. Number 1, he's probably hoping that they slow down at the front end of the race. This is Robert Gesink now that makes his move. The big favourite for the stage. He's been the man that's been marked the heaviest. He attacks and nobody can respond. Gesink, the 6th place finisher from the Tour de France of 2010. One of the big rising stars at just 24 years of age, is announcing himself to come into the season with some very good form. It's Christian van der Velde that sits in 3rd position on the road in the black colours of Garmin-Cervelo. He is riding well. He had a difficult year last year, and this is a good start. For Robert Gesink, it was a good season on the bike in 2010, but he had a tragic end to the season when his father passed away in a mountain biking accident. And Robert Gesink, before the race got underway, said that with a mountaintop finish, this is the sort of stage when he can mark the honour of his father and try and win the day. And that's precisely what he's doing. And he's going about it in emphatic fashion. As Bosenhagen now is starting to respond. Well, Bosenhagen, he's been sitting in that group. He's been riding with the support of one Antonio Fletcher. He's waited for the last kilometre, and now he starts to make his move. He rides reminiscent of Jan Ullrich on these climbs. He's in the drops. He's using all his power. He's not a natural climber like Gesink, but he's trying to limit his losses. The Dutchman now, he can see the finishing banner. He does the jersey up. It's another stage win for Rabobank, but it's an emotional win for Gesink. He gets the stage. He looks to the sky. He's thinking about Dad. Bosenhagen closes the gap. It's 47 seconds on the line for Bosenhagen in 2nd position in the stage. It's Debenhams in 3rd, Van der Velde. He gets pipped by Giovanni Visconti for 4th position. The American is 5th, but it's Gesink, the winner of the stage and the new race leader. As Matthew Goss, coming across the line with Tom Bonen, has conceded more than 6 minutes to the new leader of the general classification. For Robert Gesink, the winner of the stage, 47 seconds clear of Edvald Bosenhagen. Debenhams in 3rd place, Visconti and Van der Velde came in at the same time, 53 seconds behind. Van Avermaet was 6th. The red jersey for Robert Gesink. He's also got the white jersey, the best young rider. And he has a 44-second advantage overall ahead of Bosenhagen, with Debenhams in 3rd position and Van der Velde, the American, he's 4th. For Robert Gesink, it was an emotional day, but one that has paid dividends. Number 61 is now in position number 1 in the general classification. Stage 5, the individual time trial. Aerodynamics will count, and the ability to fly would help because there's some mountains to contend with in this test of truth. Starting and finishing from the Shangri-La Resort, where most of the riders in the race sustain, the individual time trial isn't going to give the riders the opportunity to enjoy this beachside resort. 18.5 kilometres around Al Jissar. It's a difficult course. It's out and back. It's all up and down. There's barely a flat stretch of road. Among the early starters, the Italian national champion, wearing number 1 as the leader of the HTC High Road team, Marco Pinotti, out on the road against the clock and setting the good times at the halfway mark. He wears the number 1 number as the team leader for HTC High Road, as they had high hopes for him in the general classification. Approaching the line, the best time was Just Postuma, but it was Pinotti that bettered it by 41 seconds. 29 minutes, 44 seconds. The Italian champion from HTC High Road with the time to beat. Fabian Cancellara, wearing the rainbow jersey, is the 4-time world champion in the individual time trial, but no time trial bikes allowed in the Tour of Oman. Regulations requiring them to race on normal bikes. As Cancellara was heading towards the finish line, the time of Marco Pinotti all of a sudden was starting to look very impressive, as the time of the Italian stood to go the better than Cancellara, who came across the line 3 seconds slower than Pinotti. Fabian Cancellara's hopes of defending his title in the Tour of Oman all but dashed with his result against the clock. It's Visconti now, the Italian champion, on the road, riding in the colours of Vanessa Vini, who's in with a chance to get himself a spot on the podium. Robert Gesink is the last man to start, wearing the red jersey as the leader of the general classification. He starts with the 44-second advantage over the green jersey. 2nd place overall, Edvald Bosenhagen. It was second last year, Boasson-Hagen, but he was first in the time trial, second overall behind Fabian Cancellara. And Robert Geesink, if he does have an Achilles heel, it's not in the mountains. It's clearly not in the mountains. It is against the clock. Boasson-Hagen is going to have to drive home the advantage and see whether he can get that time back on the Dutchman. On the descent, touching speeds of more than 100 kilometres an hour, it's making the climbing part of the course so important, as there's not much of an opportunity with such high speeds to be able to make up ground on the descents. And it's not a particularly technical course either, so it's not as if the bike handling skills are going to save you a few seconds. But Robert Geesink is looking to get every last little kilometre he possibly can out of the bike as he makes his way to the back end of the course before turning around and back up the hills. Giovanni Visconti, number one, the Italian champion that was just off the podium on the previous stage, fourth to the top of the Green Mountain, is putting in a good result at the intermediate time checks against the clock. In fact, he's faster than Pinotti. He puts it up into the big chain ring. He tries to maximise his speed before starting the descent. As further back out on the course, Robert Geesink is also taking advantage of his climbing prowess. They're all but hanging out of the car in Farnese Vini as they're cheering on Visconti. He comes to the line. It's going to be better than Pinotti. He's a new race leader. Giovanni Visconti, 29.36. It's only left to Boasson-Hagen and Geesink to try and beat him for the stage. Robert Geesink putting the nose down onto the handlebars. He's trying to stay in that tucked position. He looks like a downhill skier. He's going to have to turn into a mountain climber shortly. Going from a man of a slipstream position to that of a natural climber. It's his hunting ground. 110 kilometres an hour, though. That's for the green jersey. That's for Edvald Boasson-Hagen. Just one more climb to come for Boasson-Hagen, then he'll see the finish line. But the intermediate time checks are indicating that Boasson-Hagen isn't challenging Robert Geesink. As we can see, Geesink coming over the crest, maximising his speed on the way up the climb, because that's where he can take time. Geesink maximising his speed as his main rival, Edvald Boasson-Hagen, is now heading towards the finish line. Number 31, the big, strong Norwegian. He gets around these final few corners. He'll see the banner. He'll know the time of Visconti, which is the time to beat. For Robert Geesink, it's really only Boasson-Hagen that he's concerned about. Geesink has been in a position like this before, and he's going to try and make the most of it on this occasion. The final 300 metres now for Edvald Boasson-Hagen, the green jersey, the leader of the points classification. It doesn't look as though he's going to be able to turn that green into red, because Robert Geesink, all the signs are that he's on a good time, and Boasson-Hagen won't be able to claw back that 44-second deficit he had before the stage got underway. He's going to slip outside the time of Visconti, so Visconti is still at the top for the stage victory as Boasson-Hagen crosses 13 seconds slower. So now for Robert Geesink to win the Tour overall, he needs to make it to the finish line with a time quicker than 30 minutes and 33 seconds. In fact, he's going to be significantly quicker than that, because now Robert Geesink is looking at going inside the time of Visconti. It could be 2 from 2 for the big Dutchman. He won to the top of the Green Mountain one day ago. Could he be winning the individual time trial as well? Is it his Achilles heel? Not anymore. It's 29.20. It's the stage victory for Robert Geesink. He secures the red jersey and the team begins to celebrate. They've won 4 of 5 stages, and Robert Geesink, at 25 years of age, should be going to the top of the honour roll as the second ever winner of the Tour of Oman. He wins the stage. Visconti in second position, 16 seconds behind. It was then Pinotti third, with Fabian Cancellara in 4th place. It's not often that happens in an individual time trial for the world champion. Robert Geesink, he was in a position to win the Tour of Swiss 1 year ago, and he capitulated against the clock in the time trial. This will erase those memories. It was a convincing win, and it turns him into a convincing leader. 1 minute and 13 seconds ahead of Boasson-Hagen. Visconti moves to third. He's 1 minute and 19 seconds behind. The 6th and final stage of the Tour of Oman starts in Kuryat and finishes at the Matras seafront. 157 kilometres of boulevard for the sprinters. Stunning scenery with racing to match throughout this year's edition of the Tour of Oman, as 124 riders remain for the final stage from the 127 that set out at the beginning of the race. Only 2 teams have won stages. HTC High Road with 1 stage victory, that going to Matt Goss. The rest of them, they've been taken by the Dutch. They've been taken by Rabobank. 2 to Robert Geesink, the leader of the general classification, and 2 to Theo Bos, the big Dutch sprinter, who will be one of the men to watch on stage 6. Effectively, they raced through the mountains on stage 6, but they did go over them on stage 4 to the top of the Green Mountain, and that was where the red jersey of Robert Geesink moved himself to the top of the general classification. It's his teammates from Rabobank that are currently trying to control that main peloton, but they're content with the breakaway composition of 5, as Peter Seri is the best place, 5 minutes 25 seconds behind. Somehow, no King of the Mountains points on the Tour of Oman. There might be an opportunity for another jersey to be introduced because there's been no shortage of climbing. This is very reminiscent to stage 2 when they went over the top of the climb and there was a sprint point. There's a sprint point to come a little bit later on. For Robert Geesink, he's not concerned. He's just marking the moves. This is Rodriguez at the front now. Number 21, the diminutive Spaniard. He is a natural climber. He was quick up the Green Mountain, but he started a long way behind Robert Geesink. Disappointment amongst the Katusha team when they saw how good he was on the climb, but not in contention for the stage. Main peloton moving along quickly, sitting on speeds averaging a little bit more than 42 kilometres an hour throughout the first hour of racing. That breakaway group of 5, they've been able to build up a lead of almost 3 minutes. Marcus Burkhardt from the breakaway group of 5 in the red colours at the front, BMC Racing. He's the most experienced of this contingent, a stage winner at the Tour de France when he got the better of Carlos Paredo in a breakaway. Stole the opportunity on that occasion. He's going to have his work cut out this time. Number 141, that was Peter Seri. He's the best placed rider in that group. 25th overall, 5 minutes 25 seconds behind. A little more music on the side of the road. It's been a major feature of this year's Tour of Oman. Peloton looking content at this stage, and they're prepared to let the teams of the sprinters do some chasing. And for the rare occasion, there's some water to contend with, but it's not because of rain. But nobody wants to get too wet. The feet out of the pedals, keep them out of the way, slip them back in, and the racing will get back on in earnest. Johan van Sommer at the back of the group from Garmin-Cervelo. Coming into the outskirts of town, they're about to get onto the circuit. There's 8 laps around this 7-kilometre circuit. It's a hot dog course up and down the Corniche, just on the outskirts of Muscat. 56 kilometres still to race. The leading group of 5 with an advantage of 2 minutes and 37 seconds. It's been an education for the locals in Oman, seeing some of the very best in the world. The world champion is here, Tor Hushoff, the time trial world champion, Fabian Cancellara, and the world's #1 ranked rider, Joaquin Rodriguez. But this is Lars back for HTC High Road, doing the job for the world's #1 sprinter, Mark Cavendish. They couldn't have asked for much more in terms of the strength of the starting lineup. They can look across to the left-hand side of the road. They'll take a chance to see the finish line. They'll go back through that one more time and they'll get the bell lap. As they're heading down the back straight, they can see the breakaway contingent of 5. They're just about within their grasp. They'll be brought back in, probably, just as they hear the bell ringing in their ears. It's still Marcus Burkhardt, though, that's not surrendering just as yet. The BMC Racing team, they don't really have one of the big sprinters in the race, so they've got to look for their opportunities, and it's Burkhardt that has been flying the flag for them. Don't dare look over the shoulder because it's the teammates of Lorenzetto, the Vinokurov-led Astana squad, that are doing the chasing. Mark Cassidy in the green colours at the back of the group from AN Post Sean Kelly. He's been very aggressive throughout the race. This is Kristov now from the Ukraine, the Lamprey colours. They're about to get the bell. 4 seconds is their advantage. Just 7 kilometres still to race in the second edition of the Tour of Oman, and it's been a good one. That mountaintop finish, it was dramatic, but there's more drama to come. This is looking like it's lining up for a big bunch sprint finish, and some of the world's very fastest, indeed the world's very fastest, Mark Cavendish is here in contention. Vinokurov is obviously confident with Mirko Lorenzetto. Astana have been doing a lot of the chasing. They close it down. They've now finally caught that breakaway contingent of 5 as it's still Astana at the head of affairs. Not a team we're accustomed to seeing play this sort of role in the sprint finish. Around the roundabout at the top end of the course, it's into their headwind before they start to make the big dash for home. Rabobank, they will be looking for another stage victory. They'll be trying to set it up for Theo Boss. He's a former sprint world champion, and with the tailwind finish on this course around the Corniche, it could be to his liking because the top speeds will be going close to 70 kilometres per hour. The Lamprey colours, they've been in the breakaway throughout the day, but they'll be looking for Danilo Hondo, the German sprinter on that Italian squad, but he's going to have to fight his own way to the front because his teammates are languishing at the back. 101 FDJ, Sandy Cassar. This isn't the sort of course that suits the Frenchman. I'm sure we're going to see more of him throughout the season, however. He showed some good signs in this year's race. Well, there's been a touch of wheels in the middle of the peloton. A few have gone into the flower beds. It looks as if Taylor Phinney is amongst them. The big American, the under-23 world champion against the clock. He's come down with one of his teammates. It's Greg Van Avermaet that's on the deck with him, and others are protesting. Mark McNally in the green colours. He was amongst it for the Sean Kelly team. He's been amongst a fair bit. He's been in quite a few breakaways. That's not the sort of action he wanted to be involved in. Starting to line up for the finish, and the elbows are out as we can see. It is Chris Sutton coming to the front now. He's trying to get Bosenhagen into position, looking for the Rabobank colours, seeing whether they can lead Theo Boss out for a third stage victory for Boss. It would be a fifth for Rabobank, but HTC High Road are also getting into the action. The green jersey is there. It sits on the shoulders of Bosenhagen as now it's Boss that opens up, but he's gone a long way from home. Galimzanov is coming, but it's Cavendish that goes around the outside. He looks across the shoulder, he confirms, he wins. It's Cavendish on the Corniche. Galimzanov in second position with Gordini, the Italian sprinter, finishing in third. Mark Cavendish, after 19 days of racing in 2011, he opens up the account. How many more to come? In the end, Cavendish did it easily. He was going away from Galimzanov, the Russian sprinter, in second position. Gordini proving himself at 21 years of age, maybe growing into being the big rival of Mark Cavendish. Whilst Cavendish will be celebrating the stage victory, it's Robert Geesink in the red jersey that celebrates winning the race overall. Joining him on the podium, second place, the sky colours, Edvald Bosenhagen, and for Finesse Vini, the Italian national champion, Giovanni Visconti. The defending champion, Fabian Cancellara, he had to settle for sixth position overall. For Robert Geesink, it was comfortable in the end. 1 minute and 13 seconds clear of Edvald Bosenhagen. Giovanni Visconti was at 1 minute and 19 seconds behind.
It's a perfect start for me this season. First race, 3 victories, so it's really big, and I'm really happy.
Eddie Merckx, the patron of the race, he looks as if he's happy as well. It has been an entertaining edition. The green jersey for the points classification, it goes to the man that was second overall, Edvald Bosenhagen. The most aggressive with a jersey that represents the Oman flag, the 21-year-old Slovenian, Marko Komp. And the white jersey, the best young rider, that's also with Robert Geesink. The best team, Leopard Trek, the teammates of Fabian Cancellara. They were consistent. A beautiful race with a beautiful backdrop. The Tour of Oman, the second edition, it has proved to be an outstanding success. But this just forms part of the overall Muscat Festival. The celebrations at the festival, they go on late into the night for the Tour of Oman. That will return in 2012. Hopefully you can join us then, as this is Matthew Keenan saying bye for now.